In this lesson, we're going to look at solving quadratics using the quadratic formula. So in this case, you do not have an equation that's easy to factor. It's not a difference of squares. It isn't, we don't have a greatest common factor, those kinds of things. And so you kind of gone through the list of factoring methods, and those don't work. You could do complete the square. However, there will be problems where it says specifically to use the quadratic formula, and you have to be able to do this. So we're doing this algebraically, okay? This is not a graphing one yet. That comes next. And I gave you the quadratic formula up here. It is also on your formula sheet, okay? So if any of you are taking the SOL, you do need to know A, B, and C, and you also need to know how to find the discriminant D. And remember, your discriminant is this here, okay? That is your D value. All right, so first thing we're going to do is make sure that we write the equation in standard form. So what I've given us here is already in standard form. If not, just move everything to the left side of the equation by doing those inverse operations, and then you're ready to go. Okay. Second thing we're going to do is find our A, B, and C. So remember your A, B's, and C, those are your coefficients in front of your x squared, your x, and then your constant, okay? So in this case, my A equals 1, my B equals 2, and my C equals a negative 63, okay? Now, first thing we're going to do is find that discriminant. We're going to calculate it. So that is what is inside this square root sign, okay? So my discriminant equals, and it's b squared, so 2 squared minus 4 times a, which is 1, times c, which is negative 63, okay? And 2 squared is 4, and then 4 times 63, they're both negative, so it's going to be a plus, and this is 240 and 12, so 252. And then when we combine those together, we get 256, and we need to take the square root. We do not yet, sorry. So 256 is greater than 0. So when D is greater than 0, we have 2 real solutions. Okay, so that means, like the answers we got in previous videos, we should have 2 numerical values for our x. Okay, now that we have our A, B, and C, we know what we're looking for. We're going to go ahead and plug these in and find our x. A lot of students want to drop this x and just start plugging in, so make sure that you write that down, because this is your x value. So if we're finding this root or solution or 0 of the function, the x-intercept, it is your x value, so it tells you where your graph is going to cross the x-axis. Okay, so x equals negative b is negative 2 plus or minus. Now I've already found my b squared minus 4ac, so I don't have to do that again. I'm just going to plug in the 256 divided by 2 and then times a, which is 1. And now we're just going to use our order of operations to simplify. So negative 2 plus or minus the square root of 256 is 16. And then 2 times 1 is 2. And here's where we're going to get 2 answers. Okay, so we have negative 2 plus 16 divided by 2. Okay, which is negative 2, not 12. Sorry. I erased the wrong thing. Negative 2 plus 16 is 14 divided by 2 is 7. And then the other side of that is negative 2 minus 16 divided by 2. So this is going to be negative 18 divided by 2 is a negative 9. So we do get 2 numbers for our solution. I'll write them up here just to keep them separated. So x equals negative 9 or 7. Okay. All right, on this next one, be careful. I included this one because of the negative a value. Okay, make sure that you're keeping that when you're designating your variables. Let me switch colors here so we don't get them mixed up. All right, so my a is a -3, b is an 8, and c is a -7. Watch your signs, guys. Make sure you take them with you. My discriminant is b squared minus 4 times a times c. That's a lot of negatives. Feel free to use Desmos, you guys, if it helps. 8 squared is 64. I have a negative times a negative, which is a positive, times a negative is a negative. And now I can do the numbers. So 4 times 3 is 12, and 12 times 7 is 84. So I can already see this is going to give me a negative number, right? I'm getting -20. And if my discriminant, which is inside the square root sign, is less than 0, that tells me I'm going to have 2 imaginary solutions. Okay, so that tells me I should have I in my answer, right, when I do this. Okay, let's solve for x. Here we go. X equals, and using the formula up here, -b, if b is 8, this is going to be -8, plus or minus the square root of my discriminant, which we already know is a -20, divided by 2 times a, which is -3. Now we can start doing some simplifying. So I have -8 plus or minus, okay, I'm going to factor out the negative inside the square root to give me an I. And then I have the square root of 20. The square root of 20, remember we're looking for square roots that can multiply to that. So this would be square root of 4 times the square root of 5. Okay, and I know the square root of 4 is 2, and then square root of 5 will stay simplified. Okay, so I'm actually going to move my I over a little bit. So square root of 20 is 2 radical 5, and then I have a negative, so I got to put the I in there. Okay, so you can review this from last week if you need to. And then we're going to divide all of this by a -6. Okay, now because I have a complex number, all I have to do is look and see if I have any common denominators or common factors out of the numerator and denominator to simplify these. So 8 and 2 and 6 are all divisible by 2. So I'm just going to go ahead and divide them all by 2 and rewrite my answer. So I get -4 plus or minus I times the square root of 5 divided by -3. Okay, just checking over my work, see if I missed anything. Okay, one more step we can do is because we have a -4 and a -3, we actually could have factored out a -2. So you can do that in one more step. If you did it all at once, hats off to you, great job. But if we take a plus or minus and divide it by a negative, we're still going to have a plus or minus, okay? So all that really does is it just factors out the negative from both of these so that we have a positive. So if you're going to write that simplified for plus or minus I square root of 5, all of that over 3 is your solution. Okay, go ahead and do the check your understanding. I will see you in the next lesson.